Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RCI here for the penultimate round of the Multi-Sprint Series Season 4. We are on LMU today, and we are in Le Castellet, France, at the beautifully painted newest addition to LMU. We are at the Circuit de Paul Ricard here for some more multi-class madness, hypercars, and GT3s. And it's always an exciting day when you're going racing. It's always a great day to be here. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jack Mays. In the box with me is Callum Kerwin. And of course, we got the wonderful Ted Edwards, who's been giving us the pretty pictures all season and will continue to do so for this round and our finale next week at Spa-Francorchamps. Callum, how are you doing, buddy? It's been a couple weeks since you've been back in the box with us. You ready? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready to go. I'm first one back since the New Year and Christmas break that we had, and had a great time off. But looking forward to getting back into it. I think I'm back on with you next week when we go to Spa for the finale of this series. So get back into the groove of this. This is the first I'm seeing of these guys and this series that we've been running on LMU. Started obviously before the Christmas break, but we had a bit of a pause over Christmas to give everyone some time to. Should we say practice and get good, or spend time with their families, Jack?
Well, there's only one right answer, and it's when you have time off, you go racing. Even if that is supposed to be time off for racing, family comes second. Sim racing is forever. Everybody knows that. And speaking of racing being forever, we're in qualifying here. It is that split qualifying that we've come to love and to be deeply, intimately familiar with here on the Multi-Sprint Series. 10 minutes for the GT3 cars, 10 minutes for the hypercars. We're about 4 minutes in, so all the GTs are probably as warm as they're going to get. Tires up to temperature. Drivers putting in lap times. It is Smith, Adams, and Jones who put in valid laps so far. 2:06.0 is the time to beat. And I don't know how familiar you are with this circuit, Callum, but it's a bit of a bruiser. It is a highly technical circuit. Some love it, some hate it. I'm a pretty big fan myself, but it can bite back.
I think I raced it like once in ACC. But obviously, it's a slightly different layout in ACC as it is to in Le Mans Ultimate. But yeah, and obviously I've seen it with the F1. It was obviously on the F1 circuit. I think it still is. I can't remember if it is or isn't still on the F1 circuit.
It's coming back, I believe.
I think so. Yeah, I saw something about it recently, and it's in a lot of the feeder series. But nothing that I race in real life. So I don't really have much experience with it, other than it is quite a tricky circuit to get right. Obviously, it's a hard circuit from a setup point of view because you've got a whacking great long set of straights down the back end of the circuit, and then some really tight, twisty, sort of long corners, especially looking towards that sort of final sector. So it makes it a really, really difficult circuit to get right in terms of car setup, because if you set it up to go really quick down on the straights, you're going to struggle in the bends because you're not going to have enough front end aero, and if you put way too much front end aero on it to get the turn in right, you're going to have issues going down the straight, and everyone's just going to blast straight past you.
Yeah, no, it's this layout adds a little bit more complexity. It's currently the only layout in LMU. They promise some more will come in the future once they release circuits of Barcelona, Catalonia. Not all the circuits, of course, or all the layouts on this circuit, because there's about 4 billion of them if you add them all up. And to familiarize with this circuit, we're gonna go on board with our, well, I was gonna say our current pole sitter. They just got jumped by Chase Jones, but we'll still stay on board with Nate Smith Adams. He's powering down towards turn 1. When the circuit first came out, that curb on the inside was a lot less tall, made a corner a lot easier. Naturally, they adjusted it, and now it's a bit of a pain in the backside, to be honest. This is one of the shorter straights, one of the few straights you can get an overtaking opportunity done on into turn 4. And you can hook your wheel in that curb you see on the left-hand side. Gives you a little bit more rotation. This corner almost feeling like it's a bit off camber, bit of a pain in the butt, but it's very important to set yourself up for turn 7 and the run onto the Mistral straight. GT cars, you got to be careful about running wide. Hypercars, they got plenty of downforce. You don't need to worry about it at all. It may be not the full straight, but it is still a long run. to turn 8 to the brand new chicane. You can brake super, super late just after the 100 board. Getting the car rotated and back on the power is key. You're jumping back on the straight, sort of cut the corner as much as you can, keeping at least one tire over the white line. Smith Adams here might be getting a slight toe, ever so slight toe from Jones just ahead. Here's turn 10. Super trivial in a hypercar, a little bit less trivial in a GT. Turn 11, my favorite corner at this circuit. Super tricky, super long. You're basically braking while turning the entire time. You try to get it as straightened out as you can. Smith Adams does do a good job to do so. And then it's on to my least favorite corner, turn 12. Very difficult to spot the braking zone, very difficult to spot the turn-in point, and the apex is always somewhere, but you're never quite on it. Now, a couple more corners remaining. Turn 14, another long, long corner this time, setting you up for the final. Does he elect to hit the apex? He doesn't come quite across it. That curb on the insides is a bit chunky. Can upset a rear-engine car such as this Porsche. But that's roughly what I imagine a pretty good lap looks like. It is a pretty good lap, a 2:04.9, but not quite close enough to close up to Chase Jones in P1.
Yeah, it's quite a close battle up at the top there. So we've got 4 cars within a second of each other. Obviously, there's a few names I don't actually recognise on there, Jack, which is pretty much all of our top 3. Obviously, Raphael Huell I know very well, and then basically everyone that's showing as pit on the leaderboard there isn't actually here for the race. They've just signed out, and it's the way that LMU's scoreboards work, is that it still shows them as part of the race and just in the pits, even though they're not here at all or in the session, which is a bit strange. But speaking of him, here's Raphael Huell coming through a corner on this circuit. It's going to be impossible for us to pick them out because they all have the same colour curbs
12.
and the same lines.
13. Well,
going around the
that
outside.
Is a very good point.
It's not the easiest circuit for commentators without a track map with sort of car locations on them, but he's going to finish out his lap anyways, coming down the pit straight. See if he's made a couple of improvements, so he's about 3 or 4 tenths up now and stays in 4th place. I think that was actually slower just about than his previous lap, and that's it for him. I think he could technically go for one more if he's got the fuel, but we'll see that. But the hypercars are going to be starting their out laps now, Jack.
Yeah, that 10-minute mark has ticked down. Chase Jones is around. Nate Smith Adams is improving. There might be, in this final lap, a bit of drama between these two. We'll say Jones and Nathan Smith Adams are 5 points adrift each other at the top of the championship. So every point counts in these final 2 rounds. And if Smith Adams can get this lap done cleanly, if it was an improvement in Sector 3, they might be on the pole, which might assist their championship charge. We'll see coming across the line. It is not an improvement. It's not good enough. Actually was an improvement in the 3rd sector, but not enough in the 2nd, as LMU is improperly showing us sector improvement times because it's just LMU things. Just like how it shows people that are in the pit lane, but they're not actually here. It's just LMU things. But these are the very final laps. These GT drivers will have the hypercars, as Callum said, are warming up their tires, getting ready to go on their outlap. Their 10 minutes has begun. But finally, last but not least, Wojciech Hrajbecki's crossing the line. When I say last but not least, of course I'm lying, because Raphael Huell is still on the circuit. It's a bit down in Sector 2. Oh, very wide. That's an invalidation. I can pretty much guarantee that because I've done that. Most laps I take on this circuit. Well, he's still careening around. Maybe practicing a pit entry. Yep. The pit entry on this circuit is, well, let's just say when it was first released, the first couple of days when this circuit was brought to LMU, if you went over that white line at any point coming into the pit lane, which is incredibly easy to do, you'll get a drive-through penalty and pretty much will screw up whatever race result you were going for. Nyring is leading us out in the hypercars, Callum, and gotta say, the Alpine has been showing its fangs just a bit in this championship. Plus, Nyring doing pretty darn well.
Yeah, I mean, French car, French soil. I'm sure he's hoping that works for him today, but thanks to LMU being LMU, I can only see what cars Verstappen, Nyring, and Steiner are in. Kinder, Octane, and Van der Weyken, I have no clue because I haven't seen this championship yet until now. That's the BMW, so that's Kinder in the BMW. So I'm going to assume that maybe Octane and Van der Weyken are as well. There's a yellow flag out on circuit briefly, but that quickly goes away slowly. Yep, Octane in a rather fetching. Would you say that's teal or like sort of like a minty blue?
I like to think of it as SJ&H blue and SJ&H pink. But it is a nice blue.
It's a very nice liveried car. But yeah, they are should be up to speed. Now I can hear this now because Ted streams with audio, and as you can see, there's a Valkyrie, and as you can hear, there's a Valkyrie. I do love the sound of the Valkyrie. I remember we commentated on an LMU series that. The broadcaster didn't stream their audio, and I went back and watched it afterwards, and I couldn't even hear myself just because the Valkyrie was that loud and sounded that good. Which isn't a complaint; it's just an observation.
Never a complaint about car engine notes drowning out our drivel, for sure. Nyring crosses the line. A 49.2 is the time to beat. All other drivers getting ready to chase that. And speaking of the Valkyrie and fueling race cars, I am counting down the minutes to when I get to go to Daytona in a couple of weeks for the Rolex 24, and I get to hear everything and see everything and smell everything, and I literally cannot wait. But virtual racing will suffice until that moment. Louis Kearton, I know it says Kinder, it is Louis Kearton, we promise, goes ahead and jumps up to P1. That BMW sort of being the car to chase in this championship so far. Kearton is the driver who is leading our championship in Split 1. A reminder, there are 2 splits going on, and I will bring you updates about what Split 2 has got going on in their race when I can. Callum, do you want to take them on board for a hypercar lap?
We can, or would we just like to witness the pure sounds of a Valkyrie going around here without us ugly mugs talking over it?
I think we'll go for noise.
As much as I don't want to interrupt the fantastic Valkyrie, obviously coming through turn 1 and turn 2, heading down this sort of slight little kink, you'll notice here that basically some of these corners are still corners compared to the GT lap that Jack showed us earlier on, and some of them, they're just sort of suggestions in the right direction. Looking at you, can't remember which turn number it is at the end of the straight because I haven't got my track map up. We're professionals, Jack. But no, Manny Steiner coming on to the very long Mistral straight. We'll have to see what the difference is in the top speeds here between the hypercars. I nearly said P1s then. Oh, big snap of oversteer coming through. I think just got on the curb. That's overheated everything, and round we go. Yellow flag. That's a dead lap, but he has still got 4 minutes, so he should have enough time to recover. Looped it through turn 9, but we've got Billy Octane here going through turn 13 into sort of the heavy brake and just ever going on turn 14. You've got to be really careful there. Again, like the GT car we saw earlier, chooses not to touch the curb on the inside, but gets a big snap of oversteer on the way out. Will this be anything better? Yeah, it moves him up a spot. So he's down in the first few sectors. Oh, I think that's actually LMU being funny. He's down in the middle sector on his previous time, so there's still time to go for that, but he's going to go back to the pits and try again. Here you can see just the evidence of how long it takes to get round some of these bends. Christopher Straben just scrubbing away with a hell of a load of understeer there, but manages to sort of get himself round. We'll see if he manages to take the place back from Billy Octane, who jumped in front of him, I think it was.
Yeah, Octane increasing his current qualifying position by a spot over Christopher Streppen, who's definitely still getting up to speed. That last lap pretty much being a prep lap for the Porsche-powered man. And I think this might be the only Porsche we've seen in the last couple of rounds. And Ted, rightfully so, showing me that Milan van der Vecken has actually gone to P1 in the Valkyrie, which is quite an impressive showing. He has been very quick in that car. If any of you watched our round one, you know that Louis Kierton and Milan van der Vecken fought each other to the bitter, bitter end around Silverstone. We know that those drivers are quick. We know they can get pretty much everything out of these cars. And, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we might get another fight between the two of them. Louis Kierton, though, jumping up and putting I'd say a bit of distance between himself and Van der Vecken. It's not really a bit. It's less than a tenth. It's a tenth of a tenth. What some might call a hundredth of a second.
Yeah, that is how tenths work. Apparently, according to Ted, Christopher Verstappen has invalidated Sector 1. He will have time for one more, but that will be it. So he better prep himself in that Jota liveried 963, is it? I think. Is that what these Porsches are?
963, sir, you are correct.
Yeah, it is a 963. Apparently, according to Ted, also the GT3 drivers are moaning about the I presume, lack of grip, because you wouldn't be moaning about having a surplus of grip, but they're moaning about a bit of a lack of grip out on circuit. So we'll have to see if the hypercar guys say the same at the end of the race. But Van der Vecken, ooh, that was a bit of a weird wiggle over the line. Did he lose time? Because he's showing as purple on the bottom. But yeah, okay, so according to Ted, he's down a tenth on his fastest. LMU and he's finished as well. LMU is still working out some of its bugs. We do have a better replay system. It's not quite as good as the one we use for ACC, and the gap now works in the races, I've been told.
Ooh.
However, that was a weird snap, Jack.
I think he's coming back onto the power. Probably listened to it. I think he's a bit upset by that curb. It was interesting. It almost looks like, the boost coming in on an engine and sort of upsetting the rear when you launch out of a corner in a higher gear.
Or he's bottomed out on the curb or something.
Could have bottomed out, but it's definitely not the boost coming on, because there is no boost in that car. There's no hybrid assistance. There's no turbos. It's just a big fat V12. So I think it was just maybe his traction control being dialed a bit too low, not cutting in quite enough, and lots and lots of wiggling. This is our final car to cross the line in qualifying. Not to fear, we still have an hour and 20-minute race ahead of us. This is just the amuse-bouche, if I am to use a French words at this French circuit. Let's see if Christophe Verstappen, well, I think he's going to do a little bit of pit lane practice. He is doing so, and that will bring an end to our qualifying session here for Split 1. Should have the results momentarily of qualifying. There they are. Louis Kierton on the pole yet again. I think he's been on pole the last 3 rounds, possibly, maybe even more. Milan van der Vecken, very, very, very close in second, joining him on the front row. Klaus Nyring in the French-powered Alpine. I think he's getting extra horsepower, because 2/10 adrift from the leaders is very close indeed in a car such as that. Christoph Verstappen is in P4, and Billy Octane P5, and Manny Steiner, perhaps still needing a bit of time to get up to speed on this tight and twisty circuit, is in 6th position. For the GT qualifying, Chase Jones is on the pole. Nate Smith-Adams still closing behind. I'm hoping maybe we'll get a hard fight for the win in GT and in Hypercar today. Nate Smith-Adams on the front row as well. Zach Vermaak is in 3rd position. Raphael Huell 4th. Jacob Janowski in 5th. And Wojciech Rybecki in 6th. I think we might have. It is a bit of a lighter showing of drivers here at Paul Ricard, but I think, Cal, we might be treated to some good, solid racing from the few that remain. Hopefully, a much lighter attrition rate than we saw last week out at Sebring, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that sort of the 12 cars we've got put on a bit of a good show for us, but it's me and you. If they don't, we probably will find some very random talking point topic to pull out of our back pocket and involve Ted with as well, and divide the opinions of anybody watching, because that's what we do best, is nattering about pointless stuff while race cars drive around in the background. Um, yeah, just as you see there, a visualization of the grid currently flashing up on your screens. Obviously, it's the same as the qualifying order we just read out, but a chance to have a look at some of the liveries. Obviously, not all of them are showing up at the moment, but some pretty beautiful liveries there. As we go, Ted does his very best Ash Bibby impression with his grid walk.
He's taking us on the drone tour, which I will say, as we've been going on, I think you showed us this first last week at Sebring, Ted, and I must say your skills have improved. Very well done. Love a good drone shot. As a drone pilot myself, it is cool and I think underappreciated the type of views you can get from not a static camera. And while we're finishing the starting order rolling out, I will give you the top 3 in qualifying in split 2 as they've just finished up in the hypercar category. We have Nicholas Keller on the pole, Callum Kerrigan P2, and Raymond Hertog, sorry, in P3. In the GT field, we have Luca Ribin Ryu on the pole, Emma Plate on the front row, and Dries Verhulst in third position. I will do my absolute best to give updates on Split 2 as we're going along. As Ted's giving us a beautiful shot of well, let's be honest, of France, of Le Castellet. It is a beautiful region, and also some wonky shots of the painted lines on the circuit. Which, fun fact, one of my funnest facts about Paul Ricard, because I don't actually have many, those painted lines actually do serve a purpose. Those of you who are very familiar with race circuits would notice there's no gravel traps. There's no real uh, nothing to traditionally slow the cars down, but the painted lines actually serve the same purpose as a gravel trap. So those white lines at the foreground, they basically don't slow the cars down at all. Blue lines slow them down a reasonable bit, and those red lines really stop them. It's some ability to, I don't know what sort of material they've basically painted on the ground, but it serves the same function as the gravel trap, and I think looks way cooler. I would
The only
argue,
the only
Callum.
problem with them is I've had friends. I haven't raced there personally, but I have friends who've been there racing. I Ted is shocked that I have friends.
I am too, to be
Which
fair.
coming from him, wow, wow, okay, wow. I won't come back next week. It's fine. I'll just cry in the corner. But no, they absolutely, which gravel traps don't do, but these do absolutely shred any set of tires as soon as you go off on them. You've got no chance. All 4 tires are ruined, and when you bear in mind a set of single-seater tires for like a Formula 4 or a GB3 is anywhere from £1,000 to £2,000 a set. A small mistake in cutting a corner can cost you £1,000. Heavens knows what the Michelins that these cars you use cost, but yeah, it's a great idea because it allows them to have lots of different layouts and configurations and be used for loads of different cars and series. But it does shred any tire that you lock up going over it. But yeah,
Yeah, but it looks cool. It
does
looks
it though?
nice. I think it does. I think as far as discounting scenery, because this is certainly not the most scenic circuit in the world, I think as far as the actual track surface itself, I think Paul Ricard's one of the better looking circuits. Um, if you take the background uh, out of the picture, but our cars, our drivers getting ready to go green any moment now. That final sort of moment to think, all right, how am I going to tackle this race? How are we going to take the green flag as the green flag does go out? A solid start from Louis Kierton and Milan van der Vecken, leaving the rest of the field sort of in the background, but Kierton staying ahead into the braking zone of turn 1. Everybody line astern. They filed in behind one another in the hypercars. And no drama so far. A bit more to... Oh, I say no drama. I see in the background of the shot, that's, I think, Jacob Janowski. No, that's Wojciech Rybecki in the black and white BMW that's gone around, maybe going too wide. And it's
Huell's up to
Raphael
second.
Huell making up big positions in the start, maybe among the sort of, well, drama that occurred. He did start in 4th position, is now up to 2nd. So good news for Nathan Smith-Adams, who, well, now has his championship rival one more car further behind him.
There's a Porsche all front 3 leading up into the chicane on the Mistral straight. Coming down into turn 8 and turn 9, they all follow each other closely. BMW of Virmak, and then I think that's Janowski behind. But Billy Octane looking for, I think, a defence against Christoph Verstappen. Yeah, Verstappen was behind initially, so Verstappen trying to hang it round the outside of turn 10, but manages to lose it, and hopefully those painted lines do what they're meant to do, Jack, and just about gets them out the wall.
Yeah, just about. It's it can definitely be tricky following a high downforce, especially hypercar machinery through turn 11. That big arrow wash that you get can be just enough to upset the car. It is an awkward, it can be an awkward braking zone, and I think it got the better of Christoph Verstappen there. We're going to go back and watch the start of the race from Wojciech Rybecki's perspective, see what all went wrong from the start there, as Ted Edwards is patently going for the good old replay hunt. No tools for us, no fancy things that automatically caches contacts and overtakes. No, we got to do this stuff manually. But I must say, clearly a big swing in the GT field, because I believe that Chase Jones was the one who started in front, but Smith-Adams managed to come through. Let's see. Well, I see how Raphael Huell went through. It seemed like that Chase Jones had a really bad start. Huell goes through, and well, just a little slight contact for Rybecki. Possibly, or is it him taking too much of the curb? Oh, it's a little bit of contact coming back. It's Zach Vermaak. Wojciech tried to give as much space as he could, but coming over that curb sort of forced him just a bit wide there into the side of Vermaak and round, making this next hour and 20 minutes just a little bit more difficult.
He's got time, though. He's got time to catch up. Hopefully, maybe he can do something with the strategy, but I'm hearing that he's lost the place to Billy. Oh, so Verstappen was ahead apparently, and has lost the place to Billy Octane, and then proceeded to have that massive spin at turn 11. So still in replay. Billy gets through at the start of turn 10, and we caught up with it here. And then Verstappen's just gone in deep, tried to hang it round the outside, and just understeered, cold tyres. The weight's transferred round, and there you go, it's off. He did really well, Jack, to keep it out of the wall there.
Yeah, no, definitely. That could have absolutely destroyed Christoph's race, but no, there's still a chance. There's still an hour and 16 to go to mount a charge. There's a pit stop cycle between him and the checkered flag, so maybe a strategy play. But I can confirm that Verstappen definitely has some nice quality vibrations keeping him company, as Manny Steiner in the Valkyrie getting hunted down by Verstappen after the spin, seeming like Steiner maybe not having the easiest day around this circuit, maybe perhaps a lack of practice before this race. We'll say Paul Ricard is not a circuit that you can just jump into and go for a quick lap. See if we can determine why they're so far back. It may or may not be a spin. Let's see. Everything looks pretty normal there. As our broadcaster's a little bit bewildered at perhaps the lack of pace, but well, could be many mistakes at this circuit. Many mistakes. Well, running a bit wide there. in the wide pictures. That's through turn 11. Fortunately for Christopher Streppen, getting through cleanly this time. And ultimately, I think Manny Steiner-Kell might be having a bit of a lonely race in the background.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think this is probably the closest battle we've got on circuit at the moment. Everyone's sort of starting to spread themselves out, especially in the hypercar field a little bit. GTs is a bit closer up front. Sort of we've got 1, 2, and 3 all within the second of a half of each other. But then a bit of a gap back to Raphael Huel, who's another sort of 1.2 back. Raphael Huel's just dropped to 4th. So I'm assuming that's a mistake somewhere because he had a bit of a gap on Vermac. So we shall see where Vermac managed to make the move. So he's in second here, coming through. Goes down the inside. Jones goes down the inside and then manages to hold it round the outside, which is rather impressive. And that just puts Raphael Huel on the wrong line and Vermac goes through instead. So it's one of them things that you learn in karting, Jack, that you can't let anyone through because the second you let one person through, they all come flying past. And that's happened to Raphael Huel.
Yeah, it's, you know, many mistakes that can cost a driver quite a few positions like that. But clearly, Huel having a reasonable bit of pace, a reasonable bit of confidence around here, but it is still a tight fight at the front. I'm sure, Callum, you might have or might have not realized Porsche's a bit quick.
Yeah,
it used to be last season. I know you remember it was all the talk about the BMW. That was the talk of the town in GT3, but because of the 1.2 updates to sort of tire models and heating and all that, as well as a few BOP changes, it is no longer the front engine cars being the quick machines in LMU. It is most certainly swung back towards the mid and rear engine field. The Porsche is the favorite for a lot of circuits. I think it's between the Porsche and the Lamborghini Huracan most regularly. And did Chase Jones and Smith Adams and Raphael Huel sort of know that was going to happen? I don't think so. I think they just like these cars. They've been driving them for quite a while. I know a fair few number of drivers as well that have a penchant for the rear engine Porsche, but it seems to be going well. But we'll say it is down to the driver in the can. The pace of the car, the natural pace of the car, can help, but as Zach Vermac is showing, he's not bothered. He's still going quick in his front engine BMW. It is still a very quick car, and it is still a very quick driver.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be quicker in the car you're most comfortable in. So if you've driven the Porsche in, say, ACC, and then you're coming over to this game, yeah, I know they don't respond the exact same or drive the exact same, but it's going to be similar in terms of driving style and sort of the characteristics of the car. So because they are modeled in the same sort of way, you can't deny physics. So yeah, you're probably going to go for a Porsche. Whereas if you've sort of driven front engine cars in ACC or any other games, you might go for more of your sort of BMWs or Mercedeses. It's very weird because it doesn't really match in real life sort of how it works with the BOP. Obviously, you have to every round it's adjusted in real life in things such as the European Le Mans series and NLS rounds as well. I think they adjust the BOP a little bit. Especially for the GT3s. So yeah, you're always going to be quicker in the car you're comfortable with. So if you've driven a Porsche before, you're better off taking it, even if there's about to be an update in a week's time and it's currently the strongest car and you know it's probably going to get a bit of a nerf, because it tends to be that I anticipate a nerf coming for the Porsche in the next update. Let's put it that way, Jack.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna disagree with you there. I think that the Porsche may be quicker, but I think the BOP is in a better place now than it was when the BMW was done. That's just my argument as someone who poorly drives this sim. And it seems, though, it's about to be some Iron Dames on Iron Dames action. We've become a bit familiar with these two going wheel to wheel so far in this championship. These are the two championship contenders, might I remind you. And Chase Jones showing that maybe they have a little bit more pace in the chase, as Well, I'm just gonna guess it's supposed to be mimicking handheld camera shake, but it's just obnoxious. So thank you, LMU, for that. And still a chase through the third sector. I think that Smith Adams maybe had a bit more pace in the third sector. The gap was down to under 2/10 on the Mistral straight, but it is very close between the two. We'll see where it's at in turn one. They're obviously not going to be running. Well, I was going to say there's not going to be too big of a tow between the two of them, I would expect, but I was entirely wrong. There was a bit of closing towards the braking zone. Smith Adams maybe running a bit wide, maybe catching a little bit of track limit points. And this can be a fun corner in just about any car. You just sort of throw the car right, you throw the car left, and just pretty much hope it sticks. This corner, bit of a bruiser. Turn 5, turn 6 is one of the most important corners in the GTs, especially if you're trying to fight. Because if you get it wrong, the person behind you is going to come right back at you. We'll see how effective that tow is. It is effective-ish. I mean, it's a 10th on a pretty short straight, but not close enough. And you basically need to be nose to tail to make a move done there.
Wide through the chicane.
Yeah,
just a little bit wide on the apex of turn 9, and just you can see the time lost. Sort of another sort of half a car length or so there, Jack. And turn 10, you're going to be brave to make a move through here in a GT car through turn 10.
I will 100% agree with you. During the first sort of week of testing, well, I say week of testing, when the track first got released and everyone was sort of testing their limits on the circuit, I saw a couple of them happen. In fact, I myself attempted a move or two into turn 10, and surprisingly enough, normally went pretty well. I say normally because one time it went really poorly for a car ahead of me. But you can see that Chase Jones is maybe a bit more confident on the brakes than Smith Adams, but there's not enough overspeed in those braking zones. There's no real long braking zones at Paul Ricard. The longest is probably into the chicane. And, well, the hypercar battle seems to be heating up as Van der Vecken. Oh, it's a slide for Louis Kierten. And Milan van der Vecken had the car squared up and decided to go put the nose in. It's going to be a run towards turn 1 race. I think Van der Vecken's trying to squeeze maybe a little bit, but let's Kierten come back over. Braking into turn 1, Kierten a bit deep. Van der Vecken, if he can get the speed going, coming down, maybe he could make a move into turn 3. He's not close enough. It's going to be incredibly difficult to make that move from back there. Incredibly dangerous. We'll see what it looks like on board. Could get a good slipstream. A very good
doesn't get the best exit, and then just gets a bit of loads of understeer through that the kink of sort of turn 6, I think it is. But yeah, look how much he's lost. Half a second, Jack, in corner and a half.
Yeah, I think when I said turn 6 is the most important corner for GT cars, I think I misspoke. Should have just said it's the most important corner, because you saw the how much that hurt Van der Vecken's charge, as we're going to see the first bits of multi-class lapping of traffic. See how much Huel impedes Kierten at all. Oh, he's going to. There might be a move coming for Van der Vecken. Oh, he's surely not going to go. Okay, he didn't try to go for it around turn 11. He's thinking about it on the switchback. Kierten is running very wide. They're coming down. Kierten has the inside for turn 12. It's wide for both of them. They sort of both mix the apex for the most part. I see the cone for that corner is already gone, the apex cone. I'm surprised it lasted longer than a couple of laps. And we might get a little bit more impedance from Kierten, but no, he sticks his nose around Zach Vermaak. Hopefully not losing too much time, but he's already going defensive. He knows that Van der Vecken in the fast top speed of that Valkyrie might get a run. Return squeeze. There's our GT leaders coming up. I think they'll be able to clear them on the run towards turn 3. They should be. There's so much more horsepower and so much more speed for those hypercars. It just looks like those GT cars are standing still. but it's a fight in both classes in one shot, which you don't get very often. I think that's a bit of a treat. Oh, wait! That's Jones going for a move. Jones just went for a move in turn 5.
Bit of a door bang through turn 5.
Contact between them. Let's see. It's going to be a race.
This could get ugly real quick.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think a little bit more of a touch at the exit. Here comes Dyring in the Alpine.
Surprise.
Yep, we'll see. It could be last of the late breakers. They're basically, well, Jones is alongside. He is on the inside for the chicane. Breaks, they both break equally, giving each other an equal amount of space, but I think that Smith Adams is actually going to hold it. Oh, but Jones gets the better exit. Okay.
They might be side by side going into turn 10.
They are going to be side by side going into turn 10. Let's see.
Brace yourselves, guys.
Oh. But Jones gets ahead.
Oh.
That was heart in the mouth stuff. These two drivers, though, incredible amount of respect.
I'll be back in a sec, Jack.
How do you think they feel in the car?
Oh, God.
And here comes Billy Octane.
Yeah, just to top things off, they've got another hypercar trying to get around them, and it's just not managing it. Wow, Billy's cut the corner to get past, which I think probably Jones is quite happy about, because Billy was just not quite in the right place on the circuit to make a clean move, so he just cut the corner instead, and Jones can focus on defending from Smith Adams behind him. But we said we might have a bit of a eventful race. We weren't anticipating it to be too eventful, and it turns out to be probably one of the more eventful races of the series.
Yeah, this is some really good fighting and really respectful racing from pretty much everybody. You know, it's one thing when you are going wheel to wheel. It's a whole nother to have traffic in the mix. And, you know, I sort of think Billy did cut the corner, but if he wants to not be involved, he wants to get out of the way and let them fight it out, that is one way to do it. It's interesting how their lines are differing between Jones and Adams going through Sector 1. They're sort of poking and prodding, trying to find a weakness. Here comes Christoph Verstappen, taking his time, clearing them safely as they run back down towards the chicane. Something that is impressive is these two have been fighting each other, but you normally expect cars in the back like Zach Vermaat to maybe close up a little bit, but they've both been going so quickly while fighting. They haven't really lost time, being very respectful, showing the appropriate amount of space to each other. Oh, Smith Adams has a return run coming back down the Mistral. They're going to be side by side again for turn 10. We'll see who's later on the brakes, who's better on it. I think it's Jones still ahead.
Oh,
just about. Oh, certainly not around the outside in turn 11. Okay, maybe not. Maybe the switchback. Maybe there's going to be room. Maybe there's going to be a better exit.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at what Ash has just put in our channel. Ash is not here in the comms box, but he's posting very, very bad dad jokes into our channel to try and distract us, and that last one got me a little.
Well, Ash, if you're listening, and I'm sure you might be, if your goal was to be a menace, which I know it often is, congratulations, you've succeeded.
Back to the on-track action, away from Ash Bibby's terrible jokes. Still going. Chase Jones still in the first place for the GTs. Kinder's opened up just over a half-second gap on Van der Weyken with that mistake that Van der Weyken had, and is sort of holding it strong. But one thing I did want to say is, obviously, Veermack hasn't lost a huge amount of time to those guys while they were battling, but Veermack was also getting lapped by the hypercars at the same time, so that would have slowed them down a little bit. So, you know, they haven't lost or gained, but I think the fact that they were fighting while the hypercars were coming through probably helped Jones and Smith Adams on sort of their charge of trying to keep that gap to Veermack behind them in the BMW, whilst also having a bit of a fight for the lead. It was probably the right time to do it for both of them.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right there. Taking a look at our YouTube chat, we have Zeno Vandrisha saying that he thinks the most eventful race had to be Spa in the rain. I think that was season 3? No, that was season 2. Sorry, that was Multi-Sprint season 2. And I would agree, of the whole as multi-sprint of a whole, I think you might be right. That was an incredible race, and I think I've watched it back twice. I don't know. I feel like I've watched it many times. It's some good stuff. If you're looking for stuff to watch, head back into the archives a couple months for multi-sprint season 2 at Spa. It might have actually been the season opener as well, and very good stuff there, and some very good track action for us today. I mean, like, it's a lighter grid for sure, but some great racing from all takers. Billy Octane now a little bit on his own in what we would like to refer to as the John Dalton zone. There's no one really ahead of you that you're chasing. There's no one really behind you that's hunting you down, and it's just sort of, well, I sort of like to think about it as the most difficult sort of racing you have to do, where you have nothing to compare yourself to except really your own pace. So staying consistent, staying clear of mistakes such as oversteer on exit, and losing too much time can be your downfall. You see the energy on the left of your screen. It's interesting that the GT3 energy just isn't visible. It should be normally, but I suppose LMU's having a fit this evening. But everyone's mostly the same, except for Van der Vecken. You can see the standout clearly been managing to save fuel while behind Louis Kearton. You'd assume that because they're fighting, they're using a similar amount of fuel, but clearly Milan using the draft and the closing speed as an ability to sort of lift coast, and that's going to be an extra lap or two come the pit stop, and that could be worth, well, that will be worth seconds in the pit lane. So Van der Vecken maybe losing on the track at the moment in second place, but I think Callum winning on the strategy.
A bit wide through there though, but it won't really count as a track cut. I think that will system will sort itself out. But yeah, I think Van der Vecken knows, he can see that he closed up so much through the right hand kink at turn 3 there, and is really putting some good pressure on Louis Kearton to maybe even just take the overall lead before the pit stop even comes about. So Van der Vecken, we said he sort of dropped back because of a mistake, but he's starting now maybe to decide to use a bit of that energy. Apparently the energy is just plain wrong according to Jack, so yeah, ignore what we just said for about the last 3 minutes because it's not relevant at all to the race. Zeno says that his is different, so Zeno's watching as well, and it's completely different for him. So yeah, Van der Vecken may have less energy, may have more energy than those guys, but okay, according to Ted we have a delayed viewing of energy, so it should be correct, but it might be slightly off on what's actually happening in front of us. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But Van der Vecken probably has a bit of an advantage over everyone else. And he is the only ICE car on the grid, like you pointed out, Jack.
Yeah, it's no hybrid at all for the mighty Valkyrie, which hybrid systems, mind you, a bit interesting. It's a fuel-saving device more than anything. It allows the cars to have a bit of hybrid assistance depending on the car, depending on the speed. There's there's 2 different regulations depending on that, and well, it seems the Valkyrie plane doesn't need it, and or just has probably a bit extra fuel for those extra cylinders. But the LMDH spec'd BMW clearly not in favor, not in the I mean, I'm gonna assume that, I'm gonna guess and trust that what Zeno Vendrisha was telling us is correct, because according to Milan van der Vecken himself, that's what the energy is 56 and 59 at that time. So we'll just sort of guesstimate. How about that? So Van der Vecken clearly doing better on the fuel, but not quite as much as our tools would represent. But the gap is sort of, it's ebbing and flowing just a bit, as Van der Vecken has a bit too much understeer. I would say that's sort of the Valkyrie's party trick, is sort of general understeer, and as Ted rightfully is pointing out, maybe doesn't have the right setup on the car. And boy, oh boy, do I have good news for you. If you're interested in locating some good setups, head over to our friends, our partners, Coach Dave Delta and Coach Dave Academy, for not just setups, mind you, but also they have apps and tools and coaching that can help you get quick and get up to speed, whether it's a new sim, whether it's an old sim, whether you've been driving for a while and just want to get faster. You can head over to Coach Dave Delta. And mind you, it's not the only place I can send you. That's not the only thing that can get you quicker. You know, maybe a little bit new shiny sim gear, maybe a new shiny direct drive base from friends over at Moser Racing. Quality direct drive hardware that doesn't break the bank, you know, maybe a little bit. And they are fantastic. They offer not just sim racing gear, they also offer some trucking gear, some truck sim gear, as well as some flight gear as well. And generally as well, if you're looking to build your rig entirely, maybe make use of that new Moza direct drive unit, head over to Ready Set Sim. They have the tools, they have the RSS Sim builder to build the rig of your dreams or your budget. So unfortunately, we don't all have all the money in the world, and savings is worth a lot. And savings can be found over at Green Man Gaming, where you can score huge savings as Klaus Nyring has a huge slide. Maybe taps the wall just a bit, but hopefully, well, I can say hopefully not too much damage, and certainly not enough to lose the rear wing. Get back to Green Man Gaming in 2 seconds. Let's see, is there a bump? That's out of turn 6, and nope, slows the car down. Plenty of room to spare off the wall. Not even worried. Tires probably a little bit hot. But as I was saying, Green Man Gaming, you can head over to them by following the link below and get some huge savings on not just the latest sim titles, but all kinds of PC games. And we also have Pimax, our partner. If you're looking for class-leading VR clarity, they are the leaders in out-and-out resolution. At the moment, they have some absolutely absurd things, and if you're looking for an exclusive discount, head to the link below. We will treat you to, you know, some amount off of your new VR headset. Last but not least, thank you to Motorsport UK for having us as a recommended sim racing community, and thank you to all of our partners for their continued support, and thank you to Milan van der Vecken and Louis Kierton for their continued racing.
Jack, when's that 12K headset coming? You always have the inside scoop.
I don't know.
It's soon. I'd like it.
Allegedly,
it's going to be way more money than I have, but I'd like
same.
it. Like, who wouldn't want that? I mean, I think I used VR once in sim racing, and it was so difficult. I felt like it was really hard to place the car, if that makes sense. Like, I found myself looking over my shoulder a lot to like see cars around me and stuff, and like you would naturally, if you were looking over your right shoulder, your right hand would naturally move down, and then you'd end up just steering right, just involuntarily because you were moving your head. It's a bit like how you're taught to ride motorbikes and stuff. You're sort of taught to look where you're going, and I found myself doing that. It was really weird, and I didn't like it. I didn't get motion sick from it, but it was odd at the best of times. But I think another man sort of in the John Dalton zone is Janowski here. He's sort of 4 seconds back on Raphael Huel, who's about 6 seconds back on the top 3 battle, and he's just sort of driving around. He can see Huel in the distance. Down the straight, and obviously he's got some hypercars coming behind him. I think that was an Alpine that's coming up to lap round, but I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, Rybecki had that problem earlier with the little bit of contact and the spin and whatnot, but so he's way down. So Zanowski just sort of has to go around and hope Huel has a problem, or hope he finds some pace after the pit stops, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, we still have another 50 minutes to go, so things could change. You know, fortunes could be told, and Who knows, maybe Janowski, after his pit stop, he suddenly is like, wait a minute, I can take these corners seconds faster, and then goes and wins the race. I quite honestly doubt that will happen, but it's entirely possible. You know, this is racing. Who knows what's going to happen? There's that Alpine you were talking about. There's Nyring dealing with the GT traffic in a almost problematic way, nearing the one gravel trap that exists on the circuit. And, well, he paid for the circuit, he paid for the DLC. He's going to experience every inch of circuit that he can get to. And just a quick update on Split 2, as yet again, leaders overtaking leaders. Nicholas Keller still leads from pole in the hypercar class. Callum Kerrigan still in second, and Raymond Hertog still in third. So not a lot of movement, though the gaps are close enough that a fight could begin to happen at any point. And continuing in that sort of things are where they qualified in the GT cars, we have Luca Rabin Ryu leading the race, Dries Verhoost in second, and Emma Plate in third, which I believe was the qualifying order as I read it out a little while ago. And, well, gaps are reasonably stable in that race, and if anything crazy happens as I see it, who knows, maybe I'll start shouting about it.
Probably will.
I'm saying I shout a lot.
Sometimes. It depends if something happens. I mean, Van der Weyken went a little bit wide there through 2. But yeah, as you said about this battle, which is probably the closest one we've got on circuit at the moment, apart from the lead battle in the GTs. At least we've got lead battles in both classes. The rest of the hypercar guys have sort of spread themselves out a bit, but Van der Weyken isn't giving this one up yet. He has obviously got a bit of an advantage in energy, so we'll have to see what goes on there. But he is still sort of hunting down Louis, and sort of maybe in my mind I'd be waiting till the pit stop, Jack, and just knowing that you're going to have a bit of a better pit stop, or maybe have to fuel less if you put on the same lap, or you can go a few laps longer and sort of see how the tyre manages and whatnot. I imagine they'll be changing tyres. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not actually sure. Normally I have sort of some insight from driving a car around the circuit. I've actually never raced hypercars at Paul Ricard. It's pretty much just been GTs and prototypes. I think I raced one incredibly briefly to see if I knew the circuit well enough to do a race. Determined I don't know what I'm doing, and didn't end up driving. So I'm not sure. If I'm honest, maybe our buddy, maybe Zeno could give us some insight if he's still listening with us. Maybe don't give away secrets of Van der Weyken's race, but if you know if tires are going to be changed, you can sort of let us know. We can't obviously take an educated guess based on, we can determine whether someone has taken tires and someone hasn't, because there's 12 seconds that have randomly appeared between cars. But that shouldn't happen. Well, I should say that shouldn't happen. It'll probably begin to start the pit cycle for the hypercars in the next 10-ish minutes. But yet again,
yeah, Louis had 30 odd % when I last looked. Ted is doing something, so this is the view you're getting for the next however long it takes till Ted gets back. But fortunately, it's of our battle. But unfortunately, Van der Weyken's just dropped back a little bit more. So not entirely sure what he's up to. Whether he's just made a bit more of a mistake, but is sort of holding on to the back end. I mean, he still have the slipstream. There's a bit of a lock-up in there on the way into the second chicane, into the first corner of the chicane. He's lost a bit of time through there, but gained it back on the second part of it. So, that Valkyrie is very strong in a straight line, like you said, and God, does it sound good doing it. But it's just sort of ebbing and flowing back and forth, which makes me feel like if he does get in front with this pit stop strategy, it's going to be hard for Louis to make that ground back up and pass. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we definitely will have to wait and see. I'm sort of two minds if I was in Van der Weyken's shoes, which if I was, it would have already been well in the wall about, 12 laps ago. But if I was him, I'd sort of, there's two things that I would see as opportunities. Is either you know, push like hell and try to overtake on circuit before the pit stops, or keep trailing Louis Keaton, keep trailing the leader, use them as an ability to save a little bit more fuel, try to get an extra lap that maybe they don't have. Um, at this point, I would probably say to stay behind, hold back, save the fuel, um, and maybe that's what Milan's doing. Maybe he doesn't quite have the pace. I don't know. The gap's sort of going a bit everywhere this past lap. It was as far back as 1.3, and now it's closed in towards 0.7. But I don't know, Callum. You tell me, if you were in his position, what would you be doing as far as
I just carry on
strategy?
doing whatever he's doing. I think, he's not being hindered by Louis Curtin in front of him. Louis not proposing sort of any sort of danger to his race, so he knows he's going to get him on the strategy. He has to. It's a good few seconds worth of fuel that he's got in hand. So unless Louis underfuels the car for the second stint, and goes really aggressive with his own fuel saving, then Van der Weyken knows he's probably got that lead after the pit stops. So, I mean, that is the only potential, is if Louis does underfuel the car enough, but then he has to pit before Van der Weyken does. So Van der Weyken will know what Louis done, because Van der Weyken has less fuel. Raphael Huell's gone,
Oh,
Jack.
oh,
So something's
oh,
happened. Ted,
yeah.
that's going
Uh,
slow. Oh no, it's not. It's going
I was
full
at
speed.
half speed, my dear boy.
I don't know the LMU replay system yet. I don't think LMU knows the LMU replay system yet. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, it's near there. The replay hunt. Oh,
I mean, he pitted and just went, yeah, no, I'm all right, mate.
I think he parked up, maybe thinking that
There's a
that's
BMW
enough driving
facing
for
the
today.
wrong way there. Was that a BMW facing the wrong way?
I didn't see that, so I'm not
I
actually.
swear there was a
100%
hypercar
sure.
facing the wrong way in the background there.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure they were fine. But yeah, he just goes into the box and decides that is enough for me. Well, Raphael Huell, the first did not finisher of the day, and I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that I don't cause a curse and say hopefully the last. Is right, Mr. Edwards. The GTs are back at it. The Iron Dames are back at it. It's Jones v. Adams going down to turn one. I mean, they've been on each other the whole time, but this is the first time that Adams has really had a run for the lead in the last couple of minutes. We'll see. I mean, around the outside here would be absolutely mega. He's thinking about it. Maybe he can get the cutback. They're still together. Fortunately, no contact as he goes over the curb. And, well, it's another turn one. It's another corner, and Jones still leading. But we'll see, maybe an alternate line. Jones electing to take that inside curb to give extra rotation. Both going equal there or thereabouts. Maybe Jones running a little bit wide.
Adams had a bit of a twitch through turn 5, but he managed to sort of hold it.
A bit like it. We'll see that gap.
He's slowly gaining in the slipstream. You can see sort of a hundredth of a second every sort of half a second or so. So he might be able to have a little look at a lunge, or he's going to stay right behind in the wheel tracks and then have a go into turn 10, which might get a bit scary. Let's put it that way. So we'll see how the gap ends up coming out of the chicane. It's I think Jones just gained a little bit through there. It's really hard to follow and keep the gap when you're going down a high speed straight and then coming into sort of a quite tight, twisty corner like that. But Adams is probably Jones is a bit twitchy through there. I was about to comment on how Adams is probably ruining his tyres by being in the dirty air of the car in front. But it was a bit of a big twitch from Jones there. But yeah, they are struggling a little bit here. It's quite an abrasive track, is Paul Ricard, I think, from memory in real life, Jack. So maybe the tyre wear's going a bit. We've been told to watch this by Ted. Wow. Okay, yeah, it was Adams who had a twitch. It looked like Jones from the outside had a bit of one as well. But yeah, it just that dirty wash coming through turn 10, Jack. It's really bad.
I think it was a mixture of that, and he also took maybe a bit too much of that inside curb. He dipped into almost like the gutter of the curb. A lot of these curbs, they have these sort of bumpy, rough surface, and then there's a little ledge where you can sort of drop a tire in. I think he did that. Held the car maybe a bit too long and squirted him out just a bit on exits. But fortunately for Adams, nothing race ending, nothing code browning for the Porsche driver, and this is going to be the time where I ultimately say rest in peace, Iron Dames and WEC. Gone but not forgotten. Easily my favorite team in the GT field because their cars are pink, and that's cool as heck.
Jack?
Yes?
Dinosaurs.
No.
Dinosaurs.
No. Well, well, here's the thing. I said in WEC.
Oh, yeah, IMSA, true. It's AO Racing, isn't it?
AO Racing in IMSA will be my favorite. Wait a minute. Seems a bit early based on what we're getting on virtual energy for Louis Kearton. I'm going to assume the virtual... Well, not I'm going to assume because we know for a fact the virtual energy is wrong. That's very early compared to what I would estimate. I mean, I'd say that that's still maybe 3, 4, 5 laps too early. It's almost like Louis Kearton's going for a 50-50, like you'd see in ACC, where traditionally the better strategy is to pit at half race distance. LMU doesn't quite work out that way usually, unless he's going...
Weird strat going down the slow lane of the pit lane. Is he trying to cut the corner as much as possible?
You know what?
Wow.
I think that is an anal amount of time
That is the
saved.
sweatiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I love it.
Corner cutting the pit lane is something else. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that. I've seen people go side by side on like pit exit and stuff, but I've never seen anyone corner cut in a pit lane.
Yeah, no.
How much time does that cost you?
I'm sure that Louis Kearton knows, and that almost reminds me of that's like the what some people do in iRacing when they're in the pit lane and they're shifting rapidly between first and second when they're on the pit limiter, because it gives you an extra 1 to 2 kph rolling down.
Like 2 kph more.
It makes a difference. Ooh,
it does.
Vandervecken seeming a little squirrely, a little drifty, but keeping it together. There is he does have quite the gap. Manny Steiner's in as well, so maybe they are coming down to that sort of.
Well, I don't think it needs two full tanks to make.
Oh, it's certainly.
Oh, he's DNF'd. Okay, Manny Steiner's had enough.
Seems like it. Yet again, both of our DNFs coming in the pit lane. Drivers may be deciding that this race isn't for them. This is all they're gonna do. And there's Billy Octane dealing with Wojciech Rybecki in a moment. Octane being promoted up to P3 because Kearton was in pit lane, cutting it magnificently. Now I just need to, I want to go into LMU and just see what the difference is. Is it like 1/100th of a second? I mean, listen, time is time. Racing is fine margins, and
I mean, if you did that in real life, you would killed.
Well, if you saw he sort of drove through.
You'd never race on a race. I mean, yes, he did drive through someone's fuel rig. So if you did that in real life, you might be killed, to be fair. Race fuel is quite explosive. That's why it tends to be used.
It's fun fact.
I didn't know it was different. I knew it was obviously different fuel, but I didn't know it was actually like... So, obviously, I don't know how it works in the US for you, but in the UK, you sort of have 95, which is regular, 99, which is like your expensive premium fuel that you put in your nice car. And I thought that was a percentage. It turns out it's not, because you can have 105, which is what race fuel is in the UK. Most race fuel is 105 octane. But then your octane works differently to our octane.
Well, our octane is also
on the Billy Octane. Our octane's on the circuit.
What do you think Billy Octane's octane rating is?
Is a percentage? 100.
You think 100?
I'm going to go with 10. The number is 69.
Well, that is a nice number, and that would be a nice thing for Billy Octane to have on his resume. But no, that is how things work here in the States. However, our road car octane ratings are generally lower It's 85, or no, 87, 89, 93 is what usual pump gas is here. So a little bit lower of an octane rating, but the race fuel is 105. I think some are 107 as well.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're running.
Correct.
But our fuel is in the UK is mainly provided by Sunoco, which I think is an American company, or it's Anglo-American or something, from
Something
memory.
like that.
I've been there.
Something like that.
I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw much of Goodwood Festival of Speed, as we do have a league battle on our screens, but I'm going to talk about this. Goodwood Festival of Speed last year, and there was that crazy blue Volvo drift car. Oh, okay. Let's go back to it. Sorry, Van der Weyken is currently.
Why?
Oh, wow, big twitch. Van der Weyken is currently lapping the GT3 leaders again and nearly died. Which we are going to get.
Ted
a replay of,
Edwards wants to see that again.
So you are seeing it again. If Ted wants to see it again, you see it again. That's how. That's the rules here. It's not a democracy. It's a dictatorship, and it's Ted's place. We're all living in it.
Is it a Ted datership? That wasn't very good.
Oh
I'm
God,
sorry. I
leave.
should have kept that in the
Get
draft.
out. That one should never have seen the light of day.
See,
Wow, look
he
at the closing
sees an
speed.
Opening, he goes for it. He slots in. That is a brave thing to do, and huge slide on the exit.
I bet Smith Adams just thought he was going to take out Jones there, and he'd just be able to drive straight through.
Oh, maybe. And yeah, I think he might have been hoping for it.
Oh, he got the little twitch as he was side by side. If that had just like pinged him left, he would have just cleanly taken out Jones, and then Smith would have been able to drive straight through.
Yep. Well, it's still the fight between them, and I don't know. If I was Milan, I wouldn't have done that, because that was an incredibly sketchy maneuver when you're out leading a race such as he is at the moment. I mean, it is fair to say that's, lap time is lap time, and if he's gonna save himself maybe a half a second not waiting behind him, he did inevitably lose whatever time he gained with that wiggle. But to play devil's advocate, I understand why drivers go for that, because they're saving themselves time. They know that Milan knows that he's got to keep moving quickly, because Louis Kearton, I would imagine, fresh tank of fuel, possibly fresh set of tires, and he's on a clear circuit as well, and is going to be absolutely flying to try to deeply undercut Milan van der Weyken. We should be, fingers crossed, that we're actually correct now. Should be getting very, very close to when the top three are going to come down. Well, the top four are going to come down pit lane. The question is, does Van der Weyken have an extra lap of fuel compared to what Kearton would have had if he ran the full time? And the answer is, don't know.
These fuel figures are getting a bit confusing, just with like, I know Curtin's pitted, but he's on 58%, which doesn't feel like it should last 32 plus 1 lap in terms of minutes left.
Good point. Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I don't know how accurate the numbers we're getting are, so I can't make judgments off of it. But it just seems a bit odd, as we do know that Van der Weyken's in a Valkyrie and he's leading. So we'll focus on what we know instead of what we don't know. But I mean, at this point of the race, it's quite difficult for him, because he has no sort of gauge on how well he's doing, other than his score, his sort of relatives in his HUD. So, but he doesn't really. It's hard to keep track of that and drive quickly. So he just needs to pump out consistent lap times. It's a lot easier to do that sometimes when you have a car ahead of you that you're chasing down, because then you can sort of see and judge and gauge. He's definitely going to get a bit of a cut penalty for that. I
think he's going to get a probably somewhere from a 0.5 to a 0.75 for that. That was a pretty big cut, and I don't think he lifted at all. And more info about things we do know. We do know, thanks to Zena Van Drusha in our YouTube chat, that Van der Weyken is going to be taking tires, so I can assume that Kearton also took tires if Milan's doing the same. And given that these guys are both racing in the front, I would hope he's on. They're on a relatively, I'd say they're on a relatively similar strategy, but Kearton going for the king of all undercuts that we've seen here.
He's boxing.
LMU, he is going for it, hopefully slowing down to 60.
He didn't really attack the pit entry very hard.
Well, this pit entry is
not
a bit labored. Well, this one is not a pit entry you really want to attack all that much. It isn't. There isn't a lot of time to really gain or lose time. You're already coming offline to feed into the white lines, and it's not a long run towards that 60 braking zone. Klaus Nyring now the new leader of this race overall. The question was Van der Vecken, going to have an extra lap of fuel? And well, I think he actually took time, and I think Van der Vecken maybe boxed early, seeing what Louis Kearton was doing in terms of lap times, maybe scared him. He decided, I need new tires now. And
well, he'd have more time to make the most out of those tires. Those tires are going to last longer than 30 minutes anyways. So at any point he pits from now, if he pits later, he's just leaving potential performance on the table. The tires are, that he had on were going to be worse than the ones he'll have on at the end of the race now. So it makes sense to box now. As we have a fight, Jack, not in the comms box between me and you, but between Christopher Strapen and Billy Octane.
Yeah, and I'm sort of marveling at the fact that not sure when or how or where Christopher Streppen managed to catch Billy Octane.
Well, I thought I saw a BMW hypercar round, didn't I? Which would make sense that being Billy Octane a while back. So I'm wondering if he lost a bit of time. And Christopher Strapen is rapid, as we know.
Yeah. They're both pretty quick, and Van der Vecken, I think, took the right decision to box when he did. He actually still came out behind Louis Kearton. So that undercut, I'd be honest, kind of doubted it. Doubted the feasibility of that strategy working. And, well, I've been proven it does work. And it has worked up to this point. Will he have the tires in the car underneath him?
I'm wondering if Van der Vecken's put in more fuel relatively to Kearton, sorry. So I'm wondering if Van der Vecken might have more fuel now to use and to play with compared to Louis, who might have to be a bit more careful. Potentially.
He's a good point. I have a feeling it was down to the pace that Kearton maybe found on those fresh tires in the fresh, clean air. But yeah, Octane's boxed from ahead of Christopher Streppen. Verstappen is now the car at the lead of this field, and usually I sort of know what to expect as far as strategy. Hypercar strategy and GT strategy, but Paul Ricard, being the newest circuit, is thrown in new strategies as Van der Vecken takes way too much curb in turn 2, pushes him a little bit wide, maybe catching another penalty, maybe another track limits penalty. He might have actually gotten another one at turn 3 as well. Looked like he went all 4 off the circuit, but can't say for sure. I can't see what he sees, but something to keep in mind, something every driver in the sim always has to think about is, I don't want to rack up too many penalty points and get a drive-through, because that would ruin everything. Hey, look, we've seen this before, Callum. It's the leaders on the leaders.
I mean, he gained 3/10 going down the straight, but he's lost just over about 7 by having to follow the GT3 leaders through the chicane. So a bit of a big loss for Van der Vecken there in that sort of lead hypercar battle. As I've been told, we have lost a hypercar. Billy Octane's gone. So would make sense that maybe he did have a problem at some point, and then maybe if he got overtaken by Verstappen or had an issue with his pit stop or something, I think that's another choice to pull in. We didn't see any yellow flags, so I'm assuming he's not retired because of an accident.
Yep, I think it was 3 for 3 on pit lane retirements. Maybe drivers just not feeling it today. Maybe they have other things to take care of. There's really no way for us to know, but I think we still appreciate
they're side by side.
Yep, we definitely appreciate them all still showing up and racing for the amount that we got them. We'll see if Adams is going to try it around the outside of turn 1 again. He does have enough of a run, a pretty solid run, but it's going to be so tricky It's not a big braking zone. He turns in early. They do a little bit of a rub, maybe. They're giving each other just enough space. Adams is giving that up just a little bit.
They're going to have
It's
to pit
closed
soon.
up towards third. You're absolutely right. I think these might be their in-laps. They might be giving absolutely everything. Zach Vermack just entered the pit lane, which is sort of our indication of what might be coming for these two. Oh, it's so close, and it's been so close. You can see that energy on the bottom right. Is that true? We don't know. Honestly, it's probably relatively correct, and they are relatively running out of fuel. But oh, suddenly, an Alpine coming around. And, oh, wait a minute. Smith Adams thinking about it.
He's just putting
Jones.
Jones off line.
Ooh,
That was a big crash.
These two, I have a theory. I think these guys race against each other regularly. They have such an ability.
He's drafting him down the straight.
He's doing the thing.
Because they don't have a big enough lead over P3, apparently.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Clearly. I think.
Can't wait for him to try.
Suddenly Verstappen.
Verstappen's off the
I feel
circuit.
we've seen that before. Verstappen, it's a
Oh,
bit of a.
I think he hit the wall.
Might have done.
I don't know. I thought I saw a bit of carbon, but it might have just been like a bit of a visual effect off the circuit. But yeah,
I will say
a hypercar misjudging a lunge.
Yeah, it looked like Jones was turning in a little bit late for turn 11 as well. Like it kind of looked like he gave a bit of space. And I think it's because he looked in his mirror, saw an angry hypercar, closing speed. Meow.
Oh my
Jones,
Lord.
Yep, Jones rightfully turning in a bit late, and Verstappen.
He caught the curb on the inside.
A bit wrong, and he doesn't hit the wall
he
yet again.
Okay. I think it might have just been a bit of the track, like dirt or something I saw. But when does he brake?
How much braking?
Wow,
that's a lot of braking, and I think he drops it because he knows that he was sort of going to end up understeering into the Porsche just about, but. Well, that was a bit late on the brakes at the best of times, and when you're offline like that, it hasn't gone well.
One of them's pitted.
Ooh!
Jones is pitted.
From the lead of the race.
Yes, he was the effective leader. That's not quite a quick stop.
Seemed like a quick stop.
Whoa, Van der Waken's off the circuit. As Ted says, where's he going? I'm not sure, but he's closed right back up. So it was 2.2 seconds, and he's gained 0.8 in the first 2 sectors of this lap alone, Jack, according to the rather helpful Ted Edwards.
The always helpful and always beautiful Ted Edwards, I might add. But Van der Weken showing the pace in the closing stages. It's about 21 and a bit minutes remaining, and it's seeming that Van der Weken is struggling just a bit in Sector 3, maybe fighting the understeer of that Valkyrie. Valkyrie's best in top speed and pretty darn good at high speed. Low speed corners, though. Mid-speed corners. That's the Jack May's groan of... It's the groan index, depending on the level of groan. That's how good or bad something is. And, you know, you're right. Why haven't we mentioned that before? As our wonderful broadcaster reminding us that it's the French sim racer being Louis Kirton on the French circuit. Can't believe I didn't mention that yet.
Not a good run.
Oh,
defensive.
Big run, defensive from Kirton. You're absolutely right. Into the chicane.
Valkyrie's so quick in a straight line. He's going.
Oh, got him on the brakes.
Clean around the outside.
Absolutely.
That Valkyrie's so quick in a straight line. Just the amount of overspeed he had, and then just the confidence to nail it on the brakes and just turn in a little bit later, and know that sort of Louis couldn't really do anything about it, and he's been mugged in his own backyard.
Mugged in his own backyard. I'm a fan
mugged
of that
in his own backyard.
Yeah, we'll see if Kirton has any amount of defense. Yeah, he was sort of very unsettled in the chicane. It looked like he sort of cut it several different times, and Janowski now in the pits. And then here's Chase Jones. Wait a minute. Smith Adams is taking the lead of the race in the GT3 field. He did it in pit lane. He did it with the overcut. Jones came in first.
as well.
Adams came in second. You know, have a theory.
Tires?
No, definitely not tires.
It's too short for tires.
Fuel. Smith Adams was sitting behind Chase Jones for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, certainly saving some fuel, and was able to do an extra lap. We aren't able to see the energy because LMU is awesome at the moment, and I think that it was purely on...
Ted, we can see the energy, but it might not be right.
The strategy there. But yes, there's some energy.
So he's got 2 green bars. Let's hope Ted switches now to Chase Jones, who has 2 green bars. So we've learned absolutely nothing from this exercise, apart from that apparently Vermac has an extra bar of fuel. So, but then again, it could be wrong. We don't know, Jack.
Oh, and Wojciech Rybecki has lots of extra fuel and pitted last. So I think could be going off the recommended amount of fuel. LMU, when you are in the MFD, it will recommend an amount of fuel for you. It pretty much always gives you an extra lap. So maybe Rybecki electing to follow that, maybe not having an engineer in their ear, maybe not feeling like doing a bit of math, and just sort of went, and went in. We're on board with Klaus Neiring now. French car, French circuit, Dalton zoned. Absolutely.
A good deep way into the Dalton zone. That is 20 seconds in front and 20 seconds behind. That is prime time Dalton. Where is Dalton? Is he not racing this series? He usually races a Friday.
Hasn't actually. He will very rarely show up for a Friday champ. He's I don't think the biggest fan of Le Mans Ultimate. Not sure. He might be one of the people with polarizing views on this sim. Can't say for sure.
The Merck's boxing. I'm wondering if this might be
DT ?
Potentially.
Doesn't look like he's not pulling into a pit box. That is a drive-through penalty. That is track limits at Paul Ricard. I'm going to be honest, a bit surprised this is the first one we've seen. And I was going to say might be the only one we see, but there's 17 minutes left and lots of corners in between drivers and the checkered. So more opportunities to get more points and maybe a drive-through.
Hi and welcome to the Commentator's Curse Simulator. I'm your host Callum Kerwin. Joining me is Jack Mays, our chief cursor for this evening, and we'll see how that pans out for the rest of the 16 minutes and 53 seconds we've got remaining.
Well, that would imply that if I'm the chief cursor, I'm cursing them not to get drive-throughs, because I was implying that we'll have more drive-throughs.
I can't tell what's going on now. That's confused my little brain way too much. Verstappen's managed to negotiate Janowski successfully, which is good for both of them, I guess. Janowski's probably not very happy. We're talking about Neiring being in the Dalton zone. Janowski is sort of becoming the Dalton zone. He's 30 seconds in front and 30 seconds behind. So he's in the battle to be most in the Dalton zone. I think Janowski wins.
I think Split 2 actually wins because it looks like the entire field is basically all in their own little Dalton zone. Because Keller's still leading, Callum Kerrigan's still in second, and Raymond Herzog is still in third. They've got about some time between them. There doesn't look like there's a whole lot of racing happening. Actually, there might be a change for P3 in the hypercar. Jelva Maluma is about half a second behind. So I guess I was wrong. In the GT3 field, the LMU GT3 field, it's still Luca Rubin-Ryu, it's still Mo Plate, and it's still, no, it's changed a bit. Dries Verhulst is now in P3. So someone else was in P2 earlier when I mentioned earlier. There's a lot of names. And
Van der Veken has sort of stretched his way out here ahead of Louis. 3 seconds now the gap, and the LMGT3 gap is it's a similar gap, although it's stayed the same. Jones was about 2.5 seconds behind after the pit stops and has sort of stayed there. Still enough time to make something happen for these guys, but I have to say, especially in the hypercar, it looks more unlikely because Louis is just losing a bit of time all over the circuit to Van der Beken.
Yeah, I think you might be right. It seems that Kierton had, he got the best out of the car, but the earliness of his undercut, his tires sort of came out of the window of being pristine, and they're probably down to 80%, 70% wear, and it's, well, I'd say going a bit wrong for him, but to Louis Kierton's credit, he's still going to be leading the championship after this race, and something drastic will have to happen to him in round 6 if he doesn't win this thing, because he's been doing very well, but Van der Beken is, well, clearly the car to beat at Paul Ricard this afternoon. And more news in championship fights. If this race pans out how it does now, and Chase Jones finishes second and Nathan Smith-Adams finishes first, they will swap positions in the championship. Not sure what the gap is going to be going into the final round, but I can sort that out for you right now. Callum Kerwin, say something important.
Time for some furious napkin math. It's the best kind of math. It's the only kind of math we do here, but it's napkin math. Jack is currently doing the most complicated sums he's ever done in his life. It involves more than two numbers. Wow.
I finished. They'll be tied. They'll be tied going into the final round.
Okay.
They'll be completely tied on points.
Curtin's just lost 3 seconds, I'm being told, which we probably saw, but we were being distracted by napkin math. Oh, he's doing it on purpose. What? He just drove into the wall.
It seems he's... Uh-oh.
Maybe a hardware problem, Ted's saying?
Yeah, we'll go on board with him here. See what his
steering
inputs look like. Oh, it seems to be tracking straight. Seems fine now. I will say, we saw a bit of this at Sebring, where suddenly Louis Kierton just sort of started to make fairly innocuous mistakes.
Yeah, but that's not a mistake. He went full left-hand down into a wall on a straight.
Well, he also broke 200 meters late for a hairpin that he had been nailing all day.
Do you reckon he sneezed?
Could have done. I don't know. I think he's texting and driving. That's what I said last week. I think he's doing some distracting driving.
Don't do that, kids.
Don't do that.
Drive. And don't do a Ted Edwards and put Foster's in your coffee and drive.
Okay.
That's not okay. That. Don't do that.
I think you can do whatever you want in your
disclaimer. Ted did not actually do that. It's just a joke we were having pre-stream. That we were saying that he would like to do that. I don't think that would be possible. Let's have a look. Let's have a look back at this. Let's go back onto this and see what he does. But it just looked like he went left hand down into a wall, and he was miles away from it as well. So his brake for the chicane fine. He's hit, the apex for that. Both apex is fine. Exit's okay. Maybe took a bit too much curve on the way through. Let's see what happens here. You might be on the wrong lap, Ted. Yeah, he's wiggling. So that looks to me like to me, Jack, that he's either bored or got problems. Wow, that's a big drift.
It was an impressive drift. Let's see.
That was a Suzuka-esque.
Yep, he.
It looked like he tried to weave and just misjudged it.
I think he might be taking his hands off the wheel and doing something else. I think he's become a bit distracted, and if he continues to be as distracted as he is, Klaus Nyring might be on for a position. I know 19 seconds is a huge margin, but well, if you continue running into walls, it's that margin can change
like
massively.
A strange thing to do.
I agree. I fully agree. I think it's very strange. But 10 more minutes remain for us here at Paul Ricard. And I got to say, this race has gotten me a bit excited for Spa because of the championship fight in GT3. And
you for Spa.
I kind of hope that the order stays the way it is in the next 10 minutes. I'm praying that I haven't called upon another curse, but being tied in going into a final round is always for a little bit of drama, a little bit of excitement, between Jones and Adams, Iron Dames v Iron Dames, Porsche v Porsche in Belgium. I, I don't know about you, Callum, but that sounds pretty good.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It is me and you, I think, for Spa, me, you and Ted again. So we'll have to see how it goes. I think it'll be nice to have at least one championship battle to take over with us, and hopefully Louis pulls his act together and finishes the race. I mean, he's lost another 2 seconds. Ooh, that's a twitch. Through a corner you really don't want to have a twitch through, which is turn 10, but he's collected it well, has Janowski. So lives to fight another day in that Merc, and he's just... I think the problem we've got now, Jack, is that everyone's sort of pounding round. Ted is saying, who's got a penalty, Ted?
Christophe.
Streffen's got a penalty.
Hey, it's a DT. I didn't curse anybody. Ha ha. He's gotten a drive-through for track limits, Christophe Streffen.
You think the second one of this race, then?
The second one of this race. If I was cursing people, there wouldn't have been any, but there was, so I'm not. I'm almost confusing myself, but I'm not quite. But well, that is that would get you a point, possibly a full penalty point for that level of cutting and then not slowing. Good news for Christopher Streffen. Literally cannot get any worse than 4th position for him. So a DT is just sort of shrug of the shoulders, and he carries on for another handful of laps. Things in split 2, well, they're the same as they were when moments ago. Keller leading overall, Callum Kerrigan in 2nd, Raymond Hertog in 3rd, Luca Rabin Ryu leading the GT3s. Emil Plate is in 2nd, and Dries Verhoost in 3rd. And, well, there possibly, well, not possibly, I can pretty much guarantee there was a reasonable amount of excitement in split 2, but it must have been in the mid-pack, because I've seen a lot of movement in there, but not for the lead of the race or for the podium of either class. It's another yellow flag. You know how I said it couldn't get any worse?
It did.
For Christopher Streffen? You know how I said that it couldn't be worse?
Now, did he speed in the pit lane, or did he decide he's just had enough because of the drive-through?
Ooh.
Ted's saying he's not seen anything, so...
I'm going to vote that he sped in the pit lane because that sounds dramatic.
It would be quite funny.
He sped in on the pit entry, and he got so frustrated that he uninstalled Le Mans Ultimate, and is gonna go take up.
We're gonna find out.
He's gonna go take up Grand Strategy games. I don't know. This is also a great view of the pit lane and how sort of tricky it can be. You're sort of coming in and you're like, oh, there's the board already, and see inputs.
We can see.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It.
Yep.
Ted, I would love my written apology in the post if that's okay. Thank you very much.
I think he. Well, the interesting thing was he had the limiter on, but he just didn't slow down.
Didn't slow down enough, so the limiter doesn't.
Crosses the line, gets the penalty, and goes.
Yeah,
nope.
No, I'm out of here. See you later. Do you know what he might be going and doing, Jack? This is going to be smooth. He might be going to sign up on SimGrid for the fairly newly announced ACC Monday Championship. We're coming back at you with the GT3 Masters, Jack. So we've got modern GT3 cars in ACC with the LFN BOP all around the globe. So we start on the 19th of January at Indianapolis, and then we stay in America in your weird backwards land and go to Laguna Seca. Then it's to a track about 5 minutes down the road from where I spend a lot of time with my partners, Donington Park. And then we go over to Austria with the Red Bull Ring, Nürburgring GP, and then we finish off at the lovely track that's Bathurst, which I think is going to be quite interesting. I'm not going to lie. So sign-ups are open for that on SimGrid. Kevin has urged us to tell you all about it because he wants more people to sign up. So there's still plenty of places. 45-minute practice, 15-minute quali, and then an hour race, although the final 2 rounds are an hour and 30 minutes. So yes, we will have an hour and 30 minutes of Bathurst. We are currently working out how exactly we're going to stream/commentate everything on it. Everyone's sort of checking their schedules and seeing what they can do and what we can cover. It's one mandatory pit stop with a 30-minute pit window, and all you have to do is a litre of fuel and a tyre change for every race. Yeah, so that starts on the 19th of January, and race times will start at 7 o'clock UK time. So join us there for that. I don't know if you're free for much of that, Jack, but I imagine we'll both end up commentating it at some point.
Should be. I'll make it work. I always try to. I really enjoy the Monday championships. And
We have got a lot of returning Mondays drivers.
Good.
Thibaut Roskam, Mike Ragford, Joe Dorber, Bashtek, Kevin Voss, Pimlet, Richard Meerman's coming back, and Andy Boardman's already signed up as well in a Ferrari with the car number 69.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Well, a lot of returning drivers, a lot of returning former Monday champions. If you want your shot at GT3 glory, head over to SimGrid and Racing Club International on SimGrid and go ahead and sign the freak up. Definitely looking forward to either watching or commentating that championship. Looking forward to. I mean, it's been quite a while since we've had good old-fashioned GT3 racing on ACC. It's been, well, as long as I've been a commentator, so at least 6 months that we've not done GT3s on ACC. So there's still a little bit of life on that sim. We know that, and people have been asking for it. People want it, which is why we're bringing it. So good racing action to be seen on there, and I think it's fair to say we've seen some very good racing action here at Paul Ricard, Callum. Things sort of have settled down towards the end of this race, but the beginning and the middle of this race, very good driving.
Yeah, sort of the last 15 minutes have sort of slowed themselves back down again. But we did have quite an interesting battle at the start, and then obviously the pit stop sort of strategy decisions that these guys had to make as well sort of threw a bit of a spanner in the works for, well, Jones really lost out really to Smith Adams there in that Porsche Iron Dames front battle for GT3, but who cares? It's set up a lovely little final round Spa-Francorchamps battle for us to look at, and I don't think I could imagine much better than that, to be honest with you.
I'm thinking. No, I don't think there's. Yeah, I think that would be pretty good, pretty great. As we are on our final lap here at Le Castellet, and well, one more.
Loads of time to Van der Weyken.
I was gonna say he has done, and he's lost a lot of time to towards Nyring as well, but Nyring obviously not going to grab the position. 12 seconds and 12 seconds on a race circuit in 90 seconds would be impressive without the intervention of our good friend Barrier.
You love Barrier.
Sorry. Now we're starting the final lap as Milan van der Weyken. Then.
Now.
Meow. Is that the noise the Valkyrie makes?
Sorry, me and Ted are just making race car noises in the background.
Meow.
We're going to be children somewhere else, Jack. You commentate on this.
Meow. And the last time, Milan's going to be going through Sector 1, tackling these corners in the Valkyrie, the mighty, fighty Valkyrie. I'd say really showed us what it can do. I mean, it's when Milan's been, well, when it's quick on a circuit, it seems very quick on a circuit. However, unlike the BMW, it's not sort of good everywhere. It's either quite good or not very great. Last time through the chicane for Van der Weyken, bringing it out very easily. Mistral straight for the final time. A Porsche in the back of shot the final time. for them to go through. It is looking like it's going to be Adams winning in that category. Turn 11, anything crazy? Any cool drifts? I don't think anything could be done there. Honestly, if someone managed to go... Bit of a wiggle, actually, says Milan van der Vecken. He says, I'm not done. Watch this. Ooh,
Whoa!
yes! He's going for it now. Possibly.
It reminds me of when we did Fuji and we had, I can't remember who it was in the Porsche, but just drifting around the entirety of the final lap.
That was Suzuka, and yes.
Suzuka, sorry, same thing.
Well, here comes Van der Vecken going ahead, getting his celebration underway, weaving as he crosses the line to win for the second time this series.
God, that car sounds good.
Oh, it is good, and a bit of a unique line taken over there. And Louis Kearton is going to cross the line basically right alongside Nathan Smith-Adams. So it's P2 for Kearton as he, well...
I think he
stabs the brakes a bit early. I don't know if he quite got all the way around. I think he 360'd. And it's Chase Jones in second place, which means officially, I can't say with 100% certainty. I shouldn't have said with 100% certainty because that means something's going to happen that's going to change the reality. But we should be going into the final round with the GT3s tied for the lead of the championship. So whoever wins next week wins overall. Vermac crosses the line on the podium. And there we go. Louis Kearton giving us some smoke, giving us some showmanship as we wrap up Paul Ricard for today. And I think it was a good one. Was it? You feel good, Callum? Was that a good one?
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a fun one. I think we went off the rails a little bit during that, but that's what people come to watch, isn't it? And then there's some racing going on in the background while it's us just nattering about stuff. So, yeah, no, I'd liked... I mean, you throw sort of 20 more cars at that race. I told you he's 360. I told you.
Did. You're right.
Can we give him an extra championship point for style?
I don't think he needs any extra championship
Who runs this one? Is it Gill?
It's Mr. Ryan Gill, indeed, our event manager. And we'll see it from on board.
Gonna message
just
Ryan and see if
whips it around, counter steers, slams on the brakes, and...
Do you reckon he meant that, or do you reckon he meant to just spin out?
I mean, he definitely meant to get it spinning. I think catching the 360 perfectly may have been slightly incidental. See what it looked like from third person. And boink, nailed it.
He also finished the spin exactly at the point where he crossed the line.
He did.
Where he got it straight.
Yeah, that was absolutely...
It is a bit bad that the most important talking point we've got is right at the end of the race when one of the drivers decided to do a 360.
That's not the most important talking point. Did you miss the whole thing of that they're tied going into the final round of the championship? Come on.
I'm just choosing to ignore it for dramatic effect.
Wow. That would be the opposite of dramatic effect.
It is, yes.
All right,
You're trying to make dramatic effect.
We're properly off the rails now.
We are so far off the rails. They don't even exist. Ted is doing some bits in the background with the results. So they might be on your screens in a moment. Depends how quickly you can edit them. But yeah, Jack,
did you have a standout moment of the race? Did you have a favorite moment of the race?
I mean, just the amount of Porsche battles where we had side by side through turn on the entry into turn 10. I am surprised that neither of the two leaders hit each other in both classes.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought that would be a bit close, but yeah, no, it was a good race. It was some good battles as we jumped to some standings, Jack.
Some standings. These are some results, my dear boy.
Results, sorry.
Milan van der Vecken winning here at Le Castellet over Louis Kearton, who finished in second. Klaus Nyring was the final of the finishers in P3. Christoph Streppen being the, well, I guess technically it wasn't a pit lane DNF. The only person to not stop their race during the, while they're in pit lane, because it was just after pit exit. Billy Octane not finishing as well, and Manny Steiner being the first of the bunch in the hypercar field. Chase Jones was able to, was not able to hold that championship lead going into the final rounds. It's Smith-Adams who won here at Paul Ricard, bringing the championship to a perfect tie as we head to Belgium next week. Zach Vermaak was the car on the podium in the no longer meta car BMW, but still showing some mega pace. Jacob Janowski finished in fourth, Wojciech Rybecki in fifth, and we had Raphael Huel, the first of our did not finishers who was on circuit. Don't know why. Maybe you just didn't feel like driving anymore, but still gave us a bit of action at the beginning of the race. But well, that's gonna do it for Paul Ricard. Callum, any closing thoughts? Any final moments? Final words of wisdom?
I mean, I'm looking forward to Spa. More so, I think, than this one. I don't know. I'm one of them people that isn't the biggest fan of Paul Ricard as a racing circuit. I know it is probably better than most people think it is, but I can't get over the fact that the drama of Spa and just how it's set in the back of the sort of the hillside, going through the forest, and a championship fight in GT3 at least is something I'm looking forward to next week.
I think that's I agree. I fully agree with you, except for the bit about you saying that you don't like Paul Ricard. I like Paul Ricard. I think it's cool. I think it's neat. And I'm looking forward to when they release the version without the chicane, so you can see what kind of chicanery happens at well, it's not turn 10 anymore. It would become turn 8 at the end of the Mistral Straight. I'm ready to see massive accidents regularly that happen on Paul Ricard. But that is enough Paul Ricard talk for at least this season of Multi Sprint season 4. And one final bit of note before I give the rest of my final bit of notes is that Louis Kearton said that his favorite moment of the race was his 360 at the end, which, fair enough. That was pretty freaking cool. But thank you all for joining us. Before I go, I got to do final bits of housekeeping, of course, and that includes thanking our wonderful partners who helped us do everything we do here at RCI. Thank you to Ready, Set, Sim. Head over to them if you're interested in building the sim rig of your dreams. Thank you to Coach Dave Delta. If you want to get faster, lap time begins with Delta. Greenman Gaming, savings, savings, savings. Go get savings on your favorite PC games over at Greenman Gaming. Thank you to Moser Racing. If you want high quality direct drive hardware that doesn't break the bank, Moser Racing is where you're gonna go. Thank you to Pimax, who deliver class leading clarity and resolution. And if you want a great headset, an amazing headset, and if you want a little bit of discount on that VR headset, head to the link below. And a final thank you to Motorsport UK for having us as a recommended esports community. One final reminder, go sign up for the GT3 Masters. It will be a masterful championship. Hopefully, we'll get to see some great racing. Hopefully, we'll get to broadcast some great racing. See you guys starting in a couple of weeks. And if you are interested in broadcasting, you think it sounds like a fun thing, we are looking to bolster our fantastic broadcasting team. We're looking for casters or commentators. There is no experience required. Just come in with a good attitude. You can head over to our Discord, check out the staff vacancies channel, and that will give you all the instructions you need to apply to your chosen position. Also, stewards, if you want to be a steward, if you like being pedantic about racing regulations and watching crashes, they're always looking for more and new blood in the stewards channel. But that's going to bring our broadcast to a close. Thank you so much for spending your evening, afternoon, day, morning. I don't know, it could be 4 in the morning with us. Thank you for being here. I've been Jack Mays, joined by Callum Kerwin in the box. Thank you, Ted, for allowing us to be psychotic out loud to whoever cared to listen. Hope you all have a wonderful night. Be good to yourselves, and we'll see you all soon.
You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Get behind the wheel, let's go. Grip the road, feel the flow. Thunder roaring, steel alive. Live this dream and drive. Tires burning with gasoline. Push the limits, chasing green. One shot, don't slow, go on, we'll take control. Engines scream alive tonight, blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are, chasing taillights.